Well, hello, everybody. Hey, welcome to another Tech Tip Tuesday. Here we are, the 22nd of March. This is an awesome day. I think any day is an awesome day, but today is a special one. It's my son's birthday as well as it's an anniversary. So, yay, love that. Today is Tech Tip Tuesday night. We are going to talk about all kinds of technical stuff around Healy, around the apps, around anything that has to do with the technology of Healy. I'm joined by some awesome co-hosts tonight. I've got Freddie Perez from our wonderful live tech department. Hey, Freddie, how you doing?
Great.
We've got Jake Barron from our operations, head of operations here in the U.S.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And then Miguel is our customer service help in the back with the magic fingers, giving us lots of great answers. So here's what we got. Here's what we're going to do. If you guys are brand new, welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you guys have been veterans, then this will be redundant for you. But I'm super glad to let you know that what we can do here tonight is we can unpack anything around the technical part of Healy. We're going to talk about things around the apps, things around maybe challenges you've been having. How do you do certain things, that kind of stuff. What we aren't going to be able to do is diagnose, treat, or prevent any kind of disease or illnesses. I am a member just like most of you guys, so I'll bring my expertise, my experience, and as much of my knowledge as I can to the table. And then, of course, rely on our co-hosts to help fill in any blanks or to give us another light on the subject. So with that, we've got this is going to be recorded. It's being recorded right now, and we'll be able to share that. So if there's things that you liked that you learned here tonight, you can rehearse those. Jake does an awesome job of putting these on the YouTube channel. So thank you very much for that, Jake. Looks like our chat is already starting. So how about we dive right in?
Let's go.
Okay.
And Miguel is he's tuned in and getting people turned on with the answers. So I loved it, right? There was a question about ear clip for the electrodes. And again, Miguel jumped in there. And as he mentioned, unfortunately, they're not available here in the US.
Yeah, go ahead, Jake.
I was just going to say that's one of those things where because of the different rules and regulations in each of the markets of the 40, 50 plus markets that Healy operates in, you might see some things that are available in Europe or Asia Pacific, but they're not necessarily available here because they have to go through certain approval processes and things like that. So the ear clip electrodes, they do have those over in Europe, but we don't have those here at all. There's none in the warehouse. We're not hiding them from anybody. They're just not available here at all.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that they won't ever be available here, but that takes time, and especially when you're dealing with approvals with like organizations like the FDA and stuff, that it can take years in a lot of cases to get certain approvals.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, what I'm happy to say is that with the sticky pads, we can get really close, right, to the space or the area where you would normally connect those ear clips. So you can get right up there in that close proximity. And because we are, and by the way, I counted today, 54 countries that we're in with Healy. So, wow, it's quite diverse. And so because we're a global company, there's other regulations that are more restricted from the US and US more restricted than others. So reason why we don't have those. All right. And if you guys don't ask any questions, then we're going to make stuff up. There's really no lack of subject matter when it comes to technical aspects of Healy, because I love the way that this technology interfaces with the human body. And if you guys haven't looked at the research, Healy is generating a microcurrent which is very, very effective on the human body itself. There's decades and decades of studies to show the effect of microcurrent on ATP production by increasing it in hundreds of percentage. I mean, it's really amazing in terms of that technology. Not only that, its increase in protein synthesis, as well as amino acid transport. So these things are critical when we're looking at improving the health and vitality of a body. And the genius in which Healy put this together was that this microcurrent, it's, by the way, if you're not sure, it's a DC microcurrent. So it stands for direct current. And direct current is like what's similar to your car battery, right? It's kind of interesting. Well, why are we putting a car battery attaching to our body? Well, it's different in a sense that the DC energy is pulsed, and it's pulsed at a specific frequency, AKA the frequency is being transmitted into the body. And so this pulsation is allowing this current flow to go through our body, but target very specific tissues, organs, systems, or cells. And so that's kind of the coolest thing that I've discovered in a very, very long time, is how well it interfaces with the body in that respect. And then again, how it is looking at the resonant frequency of your body to really find the very specific frequencies that your body needs, tunes in, and then delivers that. And based on the protocol of the program you're running, that's just the Pink Dot. That's just the Pink Dot app, which is all about the microcurrent, or AKA the Healy app. So, I mean, maybe that'll open up some questions, right? All right.
Well, we did have a question about the newsletters. So while we're sort of getting things going here, well, actually, two questions. One about the new Rebalance program and the power of 3. And then also someone that's not getting the email newsletters consistently. So for the email newsletters, for that, if you've already signed up for them through the, enroll with or sign up, register for the newsletters, and you still aren't receiving them, you could submit a support ticket, and we can check some things on our end to make sure that you are enrolled for those newsletters. But specifically, they were asking about the one that announced the Rebalance program, and that was the email that came out. It had the information about the study, some information, video from Marcus as well. And the Power of 3 has been, the Rebalance program in the Power of 3 has been added to that. So if you did have Power of 3 and you haven't checked for updates in your Pink Dot app recently, I would go ahead and do that, since it should pop up there as an update. And you'll see it at the bottom of the Power of 3 program page. It'll be right at the bottom in the middle, program called Rebalance there. So, Ken, anything to add on? I know on last week's What's Up Wednesday, we discussed the Rebalance program a little bit on that. So if you want some additional information, we did a segment on that. You can go to our YouTube page at HealyAmericas.com, look for the What's Up Wednesday from last week. And then if you click on that video and then do the show more information on the actual video itself, you can go right to the part where we talked about the Rebalance program. So
let's see, Jake, can you post the link to register for the email or for the newsletter?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it here while we're.
If we can put that into the chat. So if you're not getting newsletters from Healy, there's a couple things that could be going on. Well, one, it could be going to your junk mail or your spam, because that particular sender has been flagged by your email handler for some reason. That's a possibility. The other possibility is that you're just not on the list, and that can happen. So.
Miguel posted the link in the chat here already. So thank you, Miguel.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay. So if folks, if you're on your computers, you can just click, right click and copy and paste that link. You can also, at the bottom of the chat, there's 3 little dots. You can click on those 3 little dots, and you can save the entire chat to your computer. And at the end of the call, there'll be a window that pops up. That'll be the meeting chat, and you'll be able to save that content. So, so there you go. Okay. And like Jake said, the Rebalance program was added to the Power of 3 protocol. Now, the Power of 3 protocol is 3 sections that you can do a weekly practice. Well, it actually goes for several weeks. right? And it's a pretty good protocol. It's just utilizing these programs in a format, right? And Marcus kind of described that. There's been some publications on that within our group. You can actually go to the Telegram group. First of all, I want to encourage everybody. If you're on this call, you probably are already part of that Telegram group. But if you're not, please join the Team Healy USA Telegram group. It's an open group to join. You do have to be a member of Telegram. And then you can go to the top of that page, click on the title banner, right? The name of the group, and it'll give you a search function. Actually, on your computer, it's just a little search icon on the side of your upper screen, and you can type in Power of Three, and it'll pull up everything that has been published on that group. Okay, so that's very useful. All right. There is a question here. Well, kind of more of a statement around electromagnetic waves and scalar. So Healy, we've talked about this so many times. This is a great subject because it's very interesting how Healy works. When we're working with the microcurrent and we're operating the Healy and we've got the cables connected to our bodies, the Healy has a quantum sensor, also known as a noise generator. It emits frequencies like a radio station, right, out of the frequency transmitter, but it also is sending those same frequencies in pulsed method, like I mentioned earlier, through that current flow out of the wires. So simultaneously, you're getting this current flow through the body at a very specific, with a frequency piggybacked on that current flow. And you're getting the emission from the transmitter within Healy. So just like we have one page that is called the, it was the protection page. Help me out, guys. What's it called now?
Bioenergetic.
It's not, it was the protection page. It's been renamed. I'm still catching up on some of the names.
Defense.
Yeah, defense.
Bioenergetic defense.
Yeah. So that particular page, you'll notice that when you choose one of those programs, it's just asking you to place the Healy in your pocket, right, on your body somehow, somewhere, not telling you to connect to the cables. It does give you the option, tells you can connect the cables for even a more intense effect. But that's just validation showing you that even within the pink dot programming, when you're running that program, that it's being sent out into the magnetic wave portal or modality, and your body's receiving it. And how does our body receive magnetic energy? Well, the body's literally a mobile standing antenna of water and minerals. Water and minerals, very conductive. How do you know it's a conductive? Well, if you ever stuck your finger in a light socket or you ever been shocked by something, that's energy current flow through your body to ground. So this is just evidence that you are conductive. The antenna portion of your body can pick up magnetic waves, and those magnetic waves then transduce into current flow within the body at a very specific frequency of whatever that magnetic wave was. Your body is the transducer. And then that content, that information that was on that wave talks to the body. And this is exactly what Healy's doing with the coil, right? If you're not familiar with the coil, we've talked about this a lot. So that's kind of the space. Now, the coil creates two very specific magnetic waves in 180 degrees opposition of each other. And the purpose of that is so that it creates essentially a zero vector space, right? I liken it to like a magnetic bubble. And the center epicenter, or the center of the Healy, is the center of the sphere. So if you are wearing the Healy, you're in the center of the sphere. In other words, the magnetic bubble, right? The 0 point field. And then Healy injects the frequencies that the program has asked it to do. And those are going right to you in a perfect form, essentially in a magnetic bubble, a magnetic shielding system. And that's where you receive that. So the coil is another way of transmitting these frequencies, but a different way. Understand, it's a different way. Okay. All right. We probably have some questions now. I'm getting a timeout. Anybody want? Go ahead, Freddie.
Yeah, no, I was looking at that question as well. And, with that iPad mini, of course, we always want to suggest that you make sure your iOS, your operating system, is current. And with the Apple, it's the 15.4. The second thing that could be happening is your signal. You may have a strong Wi-Fi connection, but if you have multiple devices, right, you're taking down some of that signal that could cause it to be a little bit slower in uploading in that app. Now, when I was looking at, let me just get back up there, and it says no issues doing an update. So when you're doing the update in the Pink Dot app, okay, and I take it you're going in the settings and you're checking for updates, it's not completing, and then you get a timeout message. What I would encourage you to do is just close the app and come back in and start over with that process. Again, it could just be as simple as a connectivity that needs to be done there.
Well, and Sandy, I want to also add to what Freddie's talking about is hard close all the apps in the background. Here's what happens. People go in and they'll do an update or attempt to do an update in the Pink Dot. And well, that's not working. Well, let's go over and do an update in the Blue Dot. So they'll swap over and they'll open up the Blue Dot. Now the Pink Dot's open in the background, attempting to hold Healy's Bluetooth connection, or I should say the handshake. And then you try to open the Blue Dot, and the Blue Dot's going to similarly do the same thing. And the two apps cannot have Healy's attention at the same time. You'll have a timeout on one or the other, or both. So making sure that you're hard closing, and hard closing, I want you guys to look that term up for your specific device. What does it mean to hard close an app? Because it's different for an Android versus an Apple device. How you do it, I mean, but the necessity and the end result is the same, that the app is completely shut off. It's not just sitting in the background running. And so you want to make sure and close all those apps in the background, not just Healy, but also your email and your text and your WhatsApp and your, all the other stuff that's running in the background. Those are all consuming valuable CPU resources on your smart device. Not just CPU resources, but also access to the memory of your smart device, access to any screen function, the touch screen or display function. All of that is connected. It's one device, and it's sharing the CPU to operate all of these different things you're asking it to do. So make sure everything's closed in the background. I go and I on an iPhone, you double tap the home button, or there's an L shape you do on the screen. Anyway, it opens all these little windows that are kind of piggyback there in a series. And I remember Jake and Freddie, when we were on the road show one time, I was trying to help somebody load the apps on their smart device, and it wouldn't load. We couldn't figure it out. I said, well, how many apps you got open? Let's close all the apps in the background. He said, oh, okay. So how do you do that? Okay. When somebody asks, how do you do that? I'll guarantee you there's a lot in the background running. And so I showed him, and he's sitting there going, oh, okay, I'll get it. I'll swipe and close. And meanwhile, you can talk to somebody else. So he's sitting there. He's doing this swiping action for about 10 minutes. Well, I said, okay, no wonder it wouldn't work. A lot of resources being consumed by all that background noise. Okay.
Yeah, Miguel also put into the chat a little bit further down some steps on how to clear the app data for the Healy app itself, which is definitely something to try as well if you're having issues with it not being able to update there. So definitely take a look at that. So.
Okay, let's see. Somebody I don't know if you've already answered this, but says that the resonance is creating a second list. So all the analysis have two lists going on. Yeah, that's a glitch. That's not right.
I haven't heard that one. There were some that were 2 and 3 lists that were being created. I think what we had discovered, well, one of the fixes, and this is some time ago, was just basically to close out the app, start over. But when you get into the Blue Dot, go into the cloud settings, and in this case, go in and do a full sync. And that should be able to help resolve that issue of the double list being created.
Yeah, so anytime you see oddities like that, there's a couple of things. The app could be malfunctioning. It could be malfunctioning. And remember what I said? We've got to look at principles. If your smart device is very consumed in the tasks you're asking it to do, and its resources are low, in other words, the amount of memory available to the device is low, and the amount of tasks you're asking it to do is high, then it's not impossible for the CPU to write over the top of some of your apps, or I should say the memory space and where these apps live. And so portions of the app can get compromised. And if that happens, then the function of the app decays. So what do you do? Well, like Freddie said, number one is if you can get into the app, do a backup first, right? Back up your data and then delete the app, right? If it persists, that's kind of the last resort. But once you've done your backup, hard close the app and then go to your app store and open it from there. And let's see if that brings in a more pure, clear form of the app, right? Any updates that might be assigned to that app will be uploaded, and then run it from there and just do a test. If it runs properly from there, it's possible that the app that is stored in your smart device has some kind of compromise, and it would be a good idea to delete the app and start again. But what's the ultimate fix, folks? You're going to have a device with a lot of resources. So I suggest, and what I do a lot is, I bought a phone with, I don't know if you guys are familiar with memory, but I have a 1/4 terabyte of memory on my device. That's a lot. That's a lot of gigs, by the way. And because I have thousands of pictures and videos and stuff, and I know this about me. And so I'm going to have to make sure that my device handles it. But if you're not sure about that yourself, you can go into your device, look at your settings. You can find out how much memory is being used. If you're using more than 75% of the max capability of your device in memory, then it's going to have problems. So start, delete. Okay. How far behind are we, guys?
Miguel is doing some great job answering. So those are further deep in. There was one up here. Let me come back in. I think it was Janine had a interesting question. Yeah, here it is. I did an assessment on a friend with the Creative Homeopathy, the Blue app. Acidium acidic, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, came up with a number that has a letter in front of 9 numbers, or a letter in front of 9 numbers. And I was reading that recently and found out about the possibility of microcurrents can identify CV strains or VAX. I've never seen that before. This person had 2 shots and 2 boosters. Do we know what the number sequence could be? And have you or has anyone seen this before? I haven't. That's why I thought it was interesting. Any idea what you may be referring to there, Ken?
I've been chatting with her directly in the chat here, but what's being described I've never seen before. I thought maybe it was just the DC or LM after it, and then a number, then possibly the date tied in. But this is something completely different. It's definitely not figuring out any sort of CV strain or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I just asked her to send me a screenshot if she had one, because I'm not sure exactly what is being described there. So it's hard to tell without seeing it. But
yeah, screenshots. If you guys are getting odd things, it's sometimes when you close it and you go back out, or you can't reproduce it. So I suggest you take screenshots when things like this come up. And the ticket portal, our customer service support system, is where you would put those things in so that you could that our IT system, our that tech support could look at it, and if it's some anomaly, something odd, they can research that. So definitely take screenshots and share those.
I just wanted to welcome Patty Patty is telling us she just got her Healy Professional. She doesn't know what to do with it. Well, so a lot of exciting things are in your store for Patty. The first thing I'm going to suggest is, of course, whatever smart device you're going to be using, go ahead and load up the Healy app. We officially call that the pink dot, and the HealAdvisor Analyse app, we call that one the blue dot. Go ahead and get those loaded up and go ahead and activate those. And then there's a lot of resources. For example, you can go to academy.healy.world and start learning about both of those apps, some of their functionalities, and some of the best uses that may be applied for you.
So,
anything else you'd like to add
well,
to that?
the last part of that question, she asked, I have the Healy Resident, I have the Analyze app and the HealAdvisor app, but I don't see an app for the professional. So there actually isn't a separate app for the professional. You just have more features and programs available to you within the other Healy apps that you already have. So you're not missing anything. There is no professional separate app available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the remember the professional, the resonance, and the aura module all live on the HealAdvisor Analyse app, aka the blue dot, which is this little guy right behind me here. So that's where they live, and their job, their purpose, their function is to interface with the information field, essentially create analysis, find results for things that will help balance you between the, let's call it the perfect blueprint of you and the biological and physical you that's in this present moment. So it's going to find frequencies to help do these balances based on the databases that you choose or the analysis in which it's functioning. So
and also, Patty, I was going to suggest, and to everyone else here too, on Thursday, we're going to have another one of our Healy for Beginners and Beyond. But Patty, if you go to the HealyAmericas.com, we have from our past recordings some wonderful videos and information, again, designed for folks just like yourself that are just getting started with their Healy devices. You'll gain a whole bunch of knowledge there as well.
Yeah, where you would want to plug in, make sure that we're plugging, like I mentioned earlier, plug into that Team Healy USA Telegram group, because every week, just like this call, tomorrow we're going to have a What's Up Wednesday call, and throughout the month, when there's new things to talk about, there is the Healy for Beginners and Beyond call. These are very useful calls that you guys can gain a lot of information from. And I'll tell you what, the 95% of the questions that I get on a daily basis, which probably total 50 to 100, depends on the day. 95% of the answers can be found if one was plugged into that on a weekly basis. I guarantee you. But that's the space to enlighten yourself, educate yourself. That's the key. That's the key, is self-empowerment. And that's, again, that's why Healy's here, is to give the ability for the body to heal and align in a natural way.
And just so, we are going to have a Healy for Beginners and Beyond this Thursday, so 3 p.m. Eastern time. You can join us at experiencehealy.world. And we are going to go deep into the Analyze app today, all things master key related. So all the frequently asked questions we get about master key, of backing it up, saving it, when you would possibly need to reset it, keeping track of them if you have multiple accounts on shared sort of cloud storage devices, when you would ever want to activate another device using the master device, why there's only one master key per account, no matter how many Healys. So we're going to go into all that stuff this Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, definitely be there.
Yeah.
All of those, by the way, all of the calls that have been done up to this point are stored on the YouTube page, which is accessed by that website, that URL that Freddie said.
HealyAmericas.com.
HealyAmericas.com. but you can get directly to the YouTube page right there. It's just a link. And then on that page are the different calls, the channels of the different calls, which, and then Jake has been working in the background like crazy, putting all the hyperlinks. Hyperlinking a call like that takes time, folks. Just understand, it's not something that just happens in a moment. Beth knows that very well because she does a lot of work in terms of typing out PDFs around all that content, right? And Jake's doing it in terms of building this around these videos. You got to actually watch the video again. I mean, you got to kind of go through it and get the content. It's time consuming. So, all right. What else we got? Wow, I'm behind. I see 43 new messages.
Trying to see where we left off here.
What's the status of the delivery for the coils and the back order? December, they're going out, right, Jake? I mean,
yeah. So we actually have one of our warehouses received inventory last week, and the other one received it yesterday. So both are inventory in stock, and all the back orders from December should be on the way to you if you had one of those already. Those have all been shipped out. So if you haven't received it yet, you should have it any day now.
Remember that deal we had, buy a Healy, get a free coil. Yeah. Or, that deal we had, that's the deal. I want to talk about, so Dixie makes a statement here. So it took 3 hours for the sink to go beyond 10%. And then when it did, it went quick. So guys, I want you to understand the principles of what is going on. Why does it take so long? And all of a sudden, boom, it takes off like a rocket, right? When it goes to the synchronization, we're talking about the Blue Dot app. I gave you some clues. If your smart device doesn't have a lot of resources available, and there's all this other stuff, any of this other stuff running in the background, then it's going to take a while. Now, a lot of times when we open the Blue Dot app, typically we're opening it because we want to do a scan. We want to use the function of the app for some reason, for some purpose. If we have auto sync turned on in the settings of the app, if we have that turned on, the moment you open the app, it's going to start that process in the background. You can tell because the little gear at the bottom is sitting there going round and round, right? But you may not pay attention to that. So in the foreground, let's say you're trying to do a scan, and in the background, it's trying to do a sync. And both of those actions are consuming resources. And let's say you have 2 or 3 other apps open, and they're checking your emails and they're downloading your Facebook content, and they're doing, you know what I'm saying? And you're not on a high-speed Wi-Fi with a really wide bandwidth, then trust me, that synchronization process is going to slow down like crazy. And you're going to you'll be stuck. And the biggest block of content that's being transferred to the cloud is in that first 10%. Okay. After 10%, it's smaller blocks of content. And so it moves faster. That's why. So just free it up, give it its maximum bandwidth of resources, or turn the auto sync stuff off and only do it maybe at night when you're done with your day. You know what I mean? How many of you guys have a business and you back up your hard drive? You know what I'm saying? And you don't do that in the middle of the day when you're doing your business transactions, do you? No, you don't want to open your retail program trying to make a sale to a customer when it's doing backup. That's what you're asking it to do when you've got the auto sync turned on and you're trying to do a scan. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Jim, thank you for bringing that to my attention. So yeah, I wasn't talking about upgrading your iPhone, but checking your operating system, right? So when you go into your settings, go into general, you open up the about, it's going to tell you what phone and what software version. And the updated software version for the iPhones is at the 15.4. Hope that helped.
I love this question, and I don't know if anybody's addressed it in the chat, but can you guys please give me your most concise definition of the Healy and what it does? So let me give you mine. Then I tell this to people all the time. Healy is literally a bridge between the quantum field of information. Now, if you don't know what those things are, We're already behind the curve a little bit, but it's literally a bridge between the quantum field of information. This is a very vast electron field. Let's go there. Bridge between that field of information and this biological and physical fields of matter. It's a bridge. And how does it create that bridge? It's through digital intention. I mean, simple enough, it's digital intention. So that's the most concise, but to give you a full explanation, it would take, I'm going to be doing actually this Thursday, I'm going to be doing an introductory / deep dive with a Q&A of what Healy means. Now I've got an hour and a half scheduled for that event. It's a Zoom call. And I'm going to do my best to do it within that hour and a half and have a Q&A at the end, but there's a lot. Healy is new. Healy is innovative. Healy is a technology that's not been ever created. Never. The first time we went to the moon, that had never been done before, right? That was science fiction prior to that moment. This was science fiction prior to it coming here. And so I'm giving it a quick explanation. There's not really a quick one, but it literally realigns you at the cellular level. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, with the Pink Dot app, it's working with ATP production. It's using microcurrent and the physical attributes of that using microcurrent. You can research that all day long because microcurrent is not new. And the utilization of microcurrent is not brand new either. But the way Healy uses it through the quantum sensor is new. The resonant evaluation between the subject, AKA you, and the software, that's very unique. Very unique. Okay.
Hey, Ken, are you going to be recording this session?
I will. And I'll yeah, I
Thank
will.
you.
And I will post it. I don't have, sorry, you guys, I'm not going to put the link in here right now. I will record it and then I will put that on later because I don't have a big enough room. I think it would probably max out. But I will provide that afterwards. Okay. So that if it's valuable, you guys can look at that.
You're doing it, so it's going to be valuable. I, for one, want to make sure I get to view it. Thank you.
So Ken, that was, of course, as always, a great answer to that question. So for me, I can't even go into detail. Concise to me is 12 words or something like that. But there actually is one really good graphic that we do have as part of our product presentation where it's a picture of the Healy, and on one side it says analyze, the other side it says delivers, which to me I think is if you're just looking for something that takes 10 seconds to explain, the graphic just basically states it analyzes the frequencies in the information field you need right now, and then it delivers individualized microcurrent frequencies to harmonize your bioenergetic field. To get like super simple, of course, obviously can provide a lot more detail there, but and really I think it depends on who you're talking to as far as how much information they would actually want to get out of that simple explanation.
I like that graphic too, because there's one that it also shows the level. There's the picture that shows the level of interface in terms of the bioenergetic body and the electric body and the spiritual body. And it gives a left and right, in other words, cause and effect. So there's a very, very nice description, but you can get lost in that as well. Because if we understand cause and effect, this is Newtonian principle. And when we do something, there is an effect of it. Okay. This is Newtonian principle, which is outdated. I'm sorry to say it's outdated. It's old. It's still useful, I guess, depends on what's happening. It's still valid, but we've outgrown it. We are now in the quantum realm of understanding. Quantum physics, quantum science changed like the 4-minute mile. It changed consciousness. And with that change came a new understanding of causing an effect. So everything we do is causing an effect. It's not just cause and then there's an outcome. No, there's an intentional causing, a causing of an effect. And we, through thought, through energy, can interface with that. And our thoughts are literally having an effect on the biological self. And Healy is interfacing between the quantum field, the thought, and the physical self. It's interfacing within that energy field and helping to align things. How many of you guys have ever had a bad thought? Anybody? No, I know none of you guys have had a bad thought, but maybe you know somebody that's had a bad thought, right? Okay, so let's talk about them. They're not here, so we can talk about them. So they've had a bad thought, and you see if they continue to rehearse that bad thought all day. And what happens at the end of the day? Are they tired? Are they grumpy looking? Are they having a hard time? Let's say they've rehearsed that thought all week, or maybe all month. Or they keep it going, elongating it for all year. And year after year after year, they maintain that same bad thought. Do you see a temperament? Do you see a personality trait start to develop based on that thought? Just a thought, just a way of being. So this is where thought interfaces with biology, and it becomes a temperament, and literally down regulating the cell energies within the body, epigenetically changing who you are, right? Energy thought by energy thought. So Healy's coming in to help regulate that, balance that. And it's done it in 3 different modalities. The current flow through the body, through the electrodes and the wires, the coil in terms of magnetic energy, and the resonance in terms of the information field interface. That's where it's working. Okay. Now we probably, there we go, up to 100,000 questions. Okay. Is it safe to vibrate for more than an hour? Now, Jan's actually asking about probably within, well, this is within the blue dot because there's a vibrate function within the blue dot. Is it safe to do it for more than an hour? I'm going to put the responsibility back in your lap for a minute, Jan. I say, give it a shot. Start out easy. Measure the results within your body. Some people have what we call thick skin, right? I mean, have you ever tried to introduce an idea to somebody and it took you 2 years to finally get your idea across, right? That's kind of thick skin. It's a resistance to an idea or a resistance to a change. So the more resistance we have, the longer that we can give the effect to the body without any change. So the less resistance we have, the shorter amount of time we can give the idea to the body, and the quicker the change. So it's about resistance. How much resistance are we having to the idea? So try it out. There's a chart that shows how Healy recommends vibrating things that are systemic, things that are within the entire system of you, and vibrating them longer, right? Longer for fewer times per day. Or the other ways, things which are acute, very specific, like one little cell for shorter periods of time, but more often, right? So there's equations there's a kind of a recommendation about that, but you are still the measuring stick. Believe me, you are the measuring stick. So if you're not sure, start low, start short, do this short, and do it for a short period of time and evaluate, and then course correct. The next time, do it longer, evaluate, course correct, do it longer, start building in. And I suggest getting yourself a journal because it's easier to track what's going on when you write things down, right? So then you can go back to an archive that doesn't change. Our mind changes. And if you just try to keep a track up there, it's probably going to be altered at the end of the week. All right. So track that for yourself. I can't really give you a specific recommendation. I can go by what I've done, and I've done it for much longer periods of time, but I've been using this product for over 2 years and experimenting like crazy. I don't just do it conventionally. I experiment like crazy. So, but I'm safe. I can do that on myself and not be liable legally. So, right. All right. Sorry, guys, what did I miss?
see. Lost my spot again. A lot
Yeah.
of questions coming in.
There's a Laura had mentioned here, and I'm trying to wrap my head around here, but it says here's 2 for Tuesday. What it sounds like is that a customer bought a new iPhone, then they had a replacement of a holistic, then they upgraded the holistic, and I don't know if that was to a resident or a pro, and then she's having some issues only seeing a blue page. The upgrade, that if it went from holistic to residence, for example, that's going to be done manually. So it just depends on how soon after she did the upgrade, if they've had the opportunity to go ahead and reset that SIN number to the residence, for example. Okay. We used to have some issues with the SC models on the iPhone. The SCs and the 7s haven't really ran into much of those nowadays. So I don't know that the phone is going to be an issue. Again, just making sure that the iOS is up to date at that 15.4, and that part should be good.
If you're seeing a blue screen, so when you go into the Pink Dot app and all you're seeing is one blue bar, that's basically just a blue bar, or you open it and it's just a blue page. That means it is not updated. In other words, the content that is assigned to the serial number on the back of your Healy. So every Healy has a serial number on it, and that serial number links it to an account in which it was sold to. And that purchase, whatever it was purchased, is going to unlock the software, the number of programs or pages that are available to that serial number. And so when you see a blue screen, meaning it has not been digitally or account wise linked between the serial number and the app. So the app is just a skeletal structure. There's nothing in it. We can all load the apps, but you won't get any function. It's the serial number that activates that. So how do you update? Within the app, when you open that app and you click on the 3 little bars at the top left of the screen, Freddie affectionately says the hamburger, kind of looks like a hamburger up there. You click on that, it drops down the menu. And at the bottom, second from the bottom, is one called settings. Click on settings. It opens up your settings menu, and there's a spot that says check for updates. Click on check for updates. That's where it's going to manually go and look at your account through the cloud and find out what was assigned to that serial number, and then download those programs. But what will happen is it will look, and it'll pop up a little square box that says update available and a number right there. And you have to click OK. If you don't click OK, you see that update, you go, wow, cool, I'm done. And well, you got to click OK. And then it downloads all those programs into your app, and boom, you'll see all those line items of the different pages. Obviously,
no, I was going to say, that's absolutely correct. Those are perfect steps. But if it reverts back to that same screen, and on that home page, you only see the 4 tabs, that's going to be an indication that it's in that little area from it being upgraded, and it hasn't manually been done yet. So you may have to wait another day or so before that actually happens. Then go back and do exactly what Ken said.
And there's also another portal in which we have on our shop page, which is Activate Healy. And you can go in with your order number and activate your Healy and see if that force feeds it. But again, these upgrades sometimes take time. There's 3 ways, aside from what I just said, 3 other ways that you can actually kind of help along the process. You can go in to your shop page and you can go to the Activate Healy, and then your serial number shows up. Actually, there's 2 ways to do it, either with your serial number and your invoice number, or your serial number and your order number. But if it's an upgrade, if you manually did it and paid for it, there'll be an order in your back office and you'll see an upgrade. That's your order number. If it's a gift, or I should say a promotion, I don't know that those are showing up. Jake, are they showing up as far as the promotion pieces when you do an upgrade as an actual order in your back office or in your shop order page?
I don't know about on the shop order page. We have an internal order. I don't remember if it's visible or not to the member or customer, but
I have seen, because I've gotten some promotions and gotten some devices, and they do show up, but it doesn't have an order number.
No.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't work really in that case. So the third option is to send in a customer service ticket with your content, serial number, activation, and they will be able to manually do it really quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Reverend Lindsay, thank you. Yeah, Ken, get a bigger room. That would, yeah, I get it. She's talking about the Zoom call. Let me get a bigger room. I will. Okay.
I could share like 2 seats out of my room if you need them, Ken. Okay.
And I love this suggestion. Muscle testing is a great way of telling how long. And this is, I think, in regards to Jan's question, how long to do certain things. Muscle testing things is a very good way. And there's great content in terms of learning how to muscle test. It's a skill you can learn. Anybody can learn it. So it's another great way. That chart that I was talking about earlier, I'm not sure where it is exactly, because it would be nice if it was in the back office, but it's not. It's not in our back office under downloads. Yeah, we'll have to just see if I can find it and maybe post it on the Telegram group. It's a kind of an easy little chart that was created, and I think Michael Dan's actually had a good piece to play in that creation.
Yeah, if you
What?
Google it, I think it pops up as one of the images if you do like an image search. But
yeah, try that in the Google search, guys, as far
Yeah.
as in Google search for Healy vibrate
application times or run times or
yeah.
let's see.
Okay. So duplication question here where it says, talk about why does my Healy resonance automatically create a second list? I'm not sure why that's happening, but we talked about that. The second list, it is a glitch. It's not normal. You should not have 2 lists with the same timestamp. In other words, you do a scan, it generates a list entry, and it has a timestamp. And if you've got 2 exact timestamps, that's a duplication. That is something that the app is doing on its own, right? It's not something that's a programming function. It's a malfunction. So, what's the cure? The cure is to close down all things running in the background. So on your smart device, go in and hard close all the apps. Go to the App Store and open the Blue Dot app from the App Store and test the theory again. See if it generates 2 lists again. If it's still doing that, then it sounds like it's a malfunction of the app. So do a full synchronization of the Blue Dot content. So all the duplications and all that kind of stuff, do a full sync. That's going to take all the content from the app and upload it to the cloud. Then you can delete the app and not lose anything. Okay. You can delete the app and not lose anything. Remember, folks, that if you haven't done an update, or I should say a synchronization with the Blue Dot app, and you've been working like crazy, creating clients and lists and having a great old time with all of the functions, and you delete that app, it doesn't automatically, unless you have auto sync turned on within your app, it doesn't automatically synchronize that with the cloud or the storage space for your account. You delete the app, you're going to lose the content. So to be safe, I recommend that you do a synchronization, full synchronization. And Freddie mentioned how to do that earlier. You go into that cloud settings and do a full synchronization. It's to the very bottom of that list. And this is the place where we also referenced earlier, where it gets stuck at 10% forever. And we talked about why that happens. Remember, I'm creating a full circle of principle for you guys right now. Okay. So you understand how things are linked. That why would things slow down, stop at 10%? Again, all the activities going on, the background of your smart device, CPU consumption. Remember, we covered that. Okay.
I was trying to find, I saw early on, I believe there was a question something to do with graphite and some other type of metal that may be with that, whatever that device is. And if it would cause some kind of interference in using microcurrents. But I can't seem to find that question again.
If you're looking at materials, so metallics are, when we're running microcurrent, metal implants in our body are affected by that. And you should never put the electrodes or the wristbands or anything in the proximity. What's proximity? The proximity is you need the electrodes within 6 inches of each other, right? But they need to be a minimum. They need to be about 6 inches away from the implant. So don't put them right over the top of the implant. Move around. The other way to get around that is using the coil, right? Is to magnetically infuse the body with that. But remember that titanium is also within the metallics. It's much less conductive and far less influenced by magnetic energy, but still within the metallics. And I still recommend staying away from the implants that are titanium, just for, safety sakes on your own. You can do whatever you want and test it. I've had people tell me all kinds of stories of what they do. There's nothing wrong with that. That's you, but I'm not going to tell you to do that.
So I did find the question. It says, has anyone heard about whether graphene oxide can cause issues using microcurrent? So I think you addressed that because of the metallic aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a little question in here, a question about something about the pin. Where'd it go? That comes for, I'm assuming you're talking about when you're talking about changing the clip into the ability to put on the tether, the little tether pin, the little tether connection. So changing it out to this little guy. The pin that keeps those both together, both in the Healy, that's a little spring-loaded pin similar to a watch. And you can Google, or I should say, not Google, go to YouTube and search for changing out the clip on your Healy. And there's a YouTube video on how to do that and what those parts are for. Okay.
Hey, Jake actually did a little video. So that's on our HealyAmericas.com as well.
That's right. There's that on there too. So yeah, there's so many resources.
Ken, back to that chart thing. So if you do Google Healy resonance application time, you'll see that chart. The first thing that comes up as an image is what we discussed earlier. And then also, so just keep in mind, so the resonance, and then there's also some guidelines that were put out there for the new coaching modules as far as transmission duration, interval, that kind of thing. And those are the same between the resonance and the coaching module. Those guidelines match up exactly. So there's actually, let me just, while we're here, before we close, let me just share my screen and I'll show you. This is what we have. This is an academy. So this is one of the videos for the coaching module. And you'll see here transmission duration and then an interval listed there as well. So this is, if you look at this chart here for the coaching module, it matches up exactly with what you would see for the resonance module as well. And to get to that, the Healy Academy is sort of going through where some big improvements coming soon for it. So the layout looks a little bit weird right now, but if you go to just like academy.healy.world, go to the coaching module section in the apps, and then there's a video here called Transmission Duration at Healy Coach. If you click that video, it pops up here in Vimeo right now, and near the end of this video, just watch the video. It's only 3 or 4 minutes long, but it shows different sections here on the duration as well. So that I think is a good short video reminder for everybody with that question. So
that's a great resource. And you see conscious and subconscious there. So those are also relative to acute and systemic. So, so there's, because these are very connected. I mean, it's the same, but the analysis, if you notice the analysis, when you get a result, there's essentially a code after the list is generated. And that code gives the percentage, it gives the intensity, as well as it gives the area in which of influence, whether it be spiritual, emotional, or physical. So, so all of this content, it's a great tool to be able to decipher what's going on.
Yeah, the only difference between the resonance one on the coaching, conscious matches up with acute, and then chronic matches up with subconscious on those two. So, but the intervals and times and everything are the same. So.
There's a question here that somebody broke their clip and they're going to get a new one. You know, when that you can put a ticket in about a broken clip on the back of your Healy, as this is happening. Will they get the metal one? No. The new casing style, there's been a change. And the new casing style has a clip built into it, a metal one, different. It doesn't match up with the casing style of the one that holds the plastic clip and the little metal spring-loaded pin. So they're different. So you'll get what matches your case style. So yeah, no, not yet. There's not a conversion.
Yeah, there's not really ever going to be a conversion. There won't ever be a metal clip made for that particular housing on the Healy. If you order a new Healy now, we are now shipping the metal clip version out of both warehouses. So majority of the people that have ordered one recently will see that as well. And then if you ever need to order a replacement or whatever in the future, if you get yours wet and needed to order a replacement, the ones shipping out of the warehouse now are the metal clip version.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Okay, so here we are at the top of the hour, everybody. I mean, wow, actually even over it a little bit. Sorry about that, but I just do want to respect everybody's time. And I know we could go on forever because it seems like the numbers just don't decrease at the end of the call, they increase. But anyway, thank you guys all for being here. I so much appreciate Miguel in the background. Thank you. Give a big applause to our customer service rep. And thank you so much, Jake and Freddie, for your assistance. Of course, we'll be here again next week. Tune in, please, to our What's Up Wednesday tomorrow. There's going to be some great information going on tomorrow. And then the Healy for Beginners and Beyond this week is also going to be. So 3 times you guys get a chance to really engage, right?
I just put the link for the Thursday call into the chat. So the one is at 3 p.m. Eastern, experiencehealy.world.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Good night, everyone.